In our first story, the chairman of the National Peace Council and a member of the eminent advisory committee formed by the Electoral Commission, the Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, is urging the Electoral Commission to invest in its information and communications unit so that it is able to disseminate timely information to the public before, during and after the December 7 general elections. The call comes after a participant at a peace forum organized by the Bibiman Foundation raised concerns about the slow information flow from the Electoral Commission, especially as experienced during the 2016 general elections. Reverend Professor Asante believes timely dissemination of information from the Commission will go a long way to calm tensions because the stakes are always high during elections. He's also been talking about what the Commission could do to deal with fake news and social media during the period of the election.
Fake news has come to stay. You can never stop fake news. Not even in America. Because I did a research work on fake news recently, and it's terrible. So fake news, there is nothing you can do about that. But I think we have regulations in this country. The law says that it is the Electoral Commission that should announce elections. So if you go anywhere to say that somebody said my party has won, and on the basis of that you act, you are breaking the law. It is the Electoral Commission that has been given the mandate to declare elections. So we should be very, very careful. You can, go to your FM stations. There are some FM stations that are dedicated to certain political parties in this country, and they say things that you want to hear. But the official announcement should come from the Electoral Commission. In 2016, when there was frustration in town, the Peace Council and others, we came to the Electoral Commission and said, look, Commissioner, speak. That is your responsibility. So please, let us not allow ourselves to be manipulated by the social media things that seem to be going around. But take instructions from the Electoral Commission. They have the constitutional mandate to organize our elections. And I believe we should, we will do well if we listen to what comes from the Electoral Commission. But I guess the question is also going to Electoral Commission, and it's trying to say to the Electoral Commission, don't sit there for people to confuse us. Your PRO should be up and working. Matters come up, and it takes a long time for the Electoral Commission to come in. And then after they have muddied the waters, then you come back. As a member of the advisory committee, I have done that, and we will continue to do advice that the Electoral Commission should educate us. They should let us know what is happening. The ROPA issue, they are raising questions. Tell us where you are, what preparations that you have made, instead of waiting till last minute to say it's not possible. If it is not possible, it's not possible. But you are making efforts. So these are some of the things that that we need to do. Sometimes information gap is also dangerous to the peace issues in our country. When we have to speak and we are not speaking, we allow people to do all sorts of things and say all sorts of things, which doesn't help anybody. Information gap, I think, needs to be addressed.
The minority in Parliament is questioning the basis for which government is seeking to invest money from the Ghana Infrastructure Fund into the Pullman-Accra Airport City project by Pullman Properties. They say the move amounts to fleecing the fund, which was established with oil money and other government resources just to support infrastructure projects in Ghana. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta currently has laid before Parliament a request for a tax waiver to the tune of some $23.9 million for the private project, which the minority says they will ultimately resist. The Member of Parliament for Daklu, Kwame Agbuja, says government decision to additionally invest state money in the project is not in the interest of Ghana.
Paragraph 2.2 of the document provided to the Finance Committee also suggests that Ghana Infrastructure Fund would be a partner in the hotel project. Well, Ghana Infrastructure Fund is currently in distress, more or less, because you know the contributions into the Ghana Infrastructure Fund are known. And indeed, everybody will think that whatever Ghana Infrastructure Fund will do will be able to bring back the money, or to be investment that is something that will benefit everybody. For instance, part of Terminal 3 project cost is paid out of the Ghana Infrastructure Fund, and Terminal 3 is there for everybody to use. So if the allegation that the people behind this hotel are related to the president, it raises question. I would wish Ghana Infrastructure Fund money is given to a contractor as a loan to go and complete a road project, rather than give it to a relative of the president to build a hotel.
Let's turn our attention to some of those stories. And the OT Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Emmanuel Jochi, has called on parents in schools to desist from serving children processed and sugary foods. According to him, the continuous intake of these products would have dire consequences on the health of the children, not only when they're young, but also when they grow up, which ultimately could lead to the suffering of malnutrition and obesity. Dr. Jochi therefore advised parents and schools to feed children with tropical fruits, since they have high nutritional values needed for the growth of children. He was speaking at a stakeholder sensitization workshop in Ho towards the piloting of a nutrition-friendly schools program in 11 basic schools in the OT and Volta regions. The program, sponsored by the United Nations Children's Fund, is targeted at tackling and increasing the trend of malnutrition, child obesity, and underweight among adolescents in Ghana.
It has been acknowledged worldwide that schools are the ideal places for children and youth to observe and learn about healthy eating and nutrition, as they often eat at schools. This may entail promoting the availability of high quality nutritious foods, fruits and vegetables, because most of the times now what happens, as a child is going to school, they bag the child with a lot of I call them toxic waste. They take their package with this fruit juice, so-called fruit juice. But if you look at the quantity of sugars in it, virtually the fruit content there is never good. Meanwhile, around us we have fruits, there's oranges, banana. We are blessed with the tropical condition that we have. But why don't we package our school children with those simple fruits, but rather buy those toxic waste that I always call the fruits, the Fantas, and so on. So we also encourage that we provide these foods at the school canteens, so that as we see people preparing foods in our canteens, it should have the balanced diet of having the fruits and vegetables, lower sugar content of the food that they produce. And also during our classroom celebration, most of the times during our birthdays, we have to ensure that we provide this balanced diet for our school children. And then also during our sporting events and special school community activities, we ensure that we provide this balanced diet. Mamaga Chair, ladies and gentlemen, these and many other reasons make the Nutrition Friendly Schools program a laudable initiative. And I wish to use this opportunity to call on all stakeholders, implementers and sponsors alike, to take very keen interest in this initiative and offer concrete suggestions to enhance the full realization of its objectives.
Jubilee House, the seat of government, should be drawing most of its power from the sun come June this year. A $1.4 million project, which forms part of government's renewable energy program, will supply at least 60% of the energy needs at the presidency. Presidential correspondent Elton Brobe reports that the renewable energy program seeks to connect all state institutions to off-grid solutions.
On the rooftop of the reception area here at the Jubilee House has been converted into a solar farm, as you can see. Now, the panels that have been constructed here will be able to generate electricity. Now, from what we've been told by the engineers working on this project, almost 900 kilowatts of power, which translates to almost 1 megawatts of power, will be generated here. The aim is to move the Jubilee House from their reliance on thermal or hydro to renewable energy. Remember that in 2019, when President Akufo-Addo appeared before Parliament to deliver a State of the Nation address, he made mention of the fact that government had adopted renewable energy as a means of, supplying electricity to some government institutions. And for him, the Jubilee House, the seat of government, will be the first to adopt renewable energy. Now, on the 20th of February, President Akufo-Addo will be in Parliament again to report on the State of the Nation, and then will report to Parliament what government has done so far in the area of renewable energy. What you are seeing here is testament of what he told Parliament in 2019. Now, work is progressing. We've been told that almost $1 million has been sunk into this, and when completed in some few days' time, the whole of the Jubilee House will be powered by solar. And already we've been told that almost 900 kilowatts of power, which translates into nearly 1 megawatt of power, will be available from these solar panels to power the Jubilee House. The Energy Minister has been explaining more the benefits of this and what government is also doing to ensure that all public institutions shift from thermal or hydro to renewable energy, preferably solar.
The speed at which they are doing this is good for Ghanaians, and it's also good for Ghana as part of our energy mix drive. So I'm extremely excited and encourage everybody to work very hard. The essence of renewable itself in terms of solar is not to totally relieve the fossil fuel drive out of its normal use. It's to come in as a supplement. And so depending on the duration, we expect that this can take about 60% of the power needs of Jubilee House. I think that's quite extensive, 60%. So it may not be able to power the whole of Jubilee House. Again, because of the space, they can construct it to power the whole of the house. But the panels need to occupy a lot more space. So the availability of a space is also constrained to the capacity in terms of the volume that can be used at any particular point in time. So this can take about 60% of the power and the lighting points of the Jubilee House. So I think it's quite extensive here. And this is a good demonstration that the House of Presidency, the House of Ghanaians, it's also moving on renewable. We are also encouraging Ghanaians, households to begin to migrate on solar panels. So a lot other communities are doing. I know Ministry of Education is also coming up with an innovations of putting some of the schools on renewables. Hospitals are also coming up with that. So renewable is the way forward. It's not a complete solution, but it's a supplement to our energy demands.
Elton John Brobe from the Jubilee House.
And before we go, this is tragic. High life musician Kofi Boakye-Yadom, known in showbiz circles as Kofi B, has passed on Sunday after performing at a concert in the central regional capital of Cape Coast. The Kofodia Flowers singer, according to his colleague musician Kofi Nti, started complaining of some chest pains and some unusual heartbeat right after his performance. A doctor at the hospital where he was taken to said Kofi B was sweating and vomiting when he was brought there. He was restless with a very high body temperature and an unusual blood pressure, the doctor said. Since he had difficulty breathing, he was put on oxygen and given some injection, but he died at 3 a.m. early Sunday. The late high life musician is known for hit songs including Mobrowa, Yaudompre, among many others. Legendary musician and music producer and sound engineer Fred Chaymensa took to Facebook to confirm his passing. That's it for the latest news update, and more tributes have since been pouring in for the late musician. We'll also get more updates when we wrap up with some entertainment towards the end of the show. But please make sure that you get interactive. The next 3 hours are for you. We're giving you the latest update, what the pointers are in that latest scandal to hit our country, and it's about, well, bribery allegations, allegedly, that involve purchase of 3 Airbus aircraft between the period 2009 and 2015. Of course, a period of the Mills and John Mahama administrations, in which, according to what the documents that have been cited by not only JoyNews but relevant news media right here in Ghana, is indicating, we had a top government elected official, his relative, and other assigns using third parties or conduits to pay in excess €5 million bribe in the purchase of 3 Airbus aircraft to augment stock of Ghana's military. Subsequently, we've had a swift statement from the presidency. In a statement signed by the communications director of the presidency, Eugene Ahin, it's indicating the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's attention has been brought to a 31st January 2020 judgment of the Crown Court at Southwark in the United Kingdom between the director of the Serious Fraud Office in that country and Airbus, in which the European multinational Airspace Corporation had been fined some close to $4 billion for the payment of bribes to secure deals in 5 countries. And one of them is Ghana. We'll bring you more updates and right here on the show. Do make sure that you stay with us. We'll bring you all the facts beginning to end. But we're also talking some 7 weeks of great excitement of the return of Ghana's Premier League. And we're going to have Frank Nelson, a former executive committee member of the Ghana Football Association, and then also football administrator with Accra House of Folk as well, and a businessman, and Jerome Mochri, a journalist, not only for football but generally sports, and also with the PR of the Kumasi Asante Kotoko team. He'll be right here. He's a great observer of Ghana football, and we'll have some great insight as well for that discussion. I know you're going to enjoy all that. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the newspapers.